Good morning and good afternoon, folks. Thanks for joining me this morning or afternoon, wherever you're from. This is AVer and Troxel's joint webinar series on an introduction to the modern classroom environment. I'm your presenter for today, Sun Wong. This is actually the third webinar and last webinar of December. So thanks so much for joining me if this is your first time joining. We got a lot of great stuff to go over today. In particular, a general overview of our new interactive flat panel. And I'll be going over some examples on how you can use some of this technology within the classroom and some of the new features that the panel has to offer. So if you can see my screen here, hi camera view. This is my 75-inch CP Series panel. And this webinar is actually going to be a really interactive webinar. So in the chat, if you guys have any questions during any time, feel free to ask me anything, and I'll go ahead and try to answer all of your questions at the end of the webinar or throughout if I happen to catch it. So starting off, this is our 75-inch CP Series panel. We have 3 different SKUs available, 65, 75, and 86. 75 inch is the most popular base model in size because it's kind of that sweet spot for all classrooms to be able to see the screen. They all come with a 4K resolution and 10 points of touch. And as soon as you open the panel, plug it in, turn it on, you'll be greeted with this Android home screen, and it's an embedded Android operating system that comes preloaded onto the panel. So something that we use every day in our daily lives is what? It's our phones. So we're very used to using our phones, and it's very natural for us to be able to navigate and browse our phone, and we don't need any more training for that. And the way we made this panel with this Android operating system was to simulate how you'd use a phone where there's minimal learning curve involved and there's minimal training. We do always offer the training, just like this webinar for today. But the whole point of our panel was, number one, ease of use. And that's something that we really highlighted and made self-explanatory. So as soon as you look at the screen, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You have your app icons labeled exactly what they are. The bottom toolbar right here on the Android shows you the standard browser, whiteboard, your apps, app switcher, and source. And then the only thing that I kind of like to explain and go over are these left and right arrow buttons. So you see that there's like these left and right arrow buttons, and these are the same on each screen. This is so the educator or presenter or teacher can teach from either side, so it doesn't matter which side they're from. And this lets you recall the Android functions, whether you want to change the source of the panel to a different connection that you have, or to go to the home screen, or to go to glass annotation mode, which is this bottom one. So when I enter glass annotation mode, this is something I like to highlight. In this mode, you're able to actually annotate over any screen that you see, whether you're in the Android operating system or if you have another device plugged in. So here, I actually have my 10-point touch. And as you can see, it's very, very responsive. We use the IR touchscreen. I could use multiple fingers if I want. So if we have multiple collaborators writing at the same time on this board, absolutely no problem. You can always take a snapshot at any time you wish to and save it either onto the local 16 gigabyte storage drive or a USB drive if you have that plugged in. So I just took a snapshot there to save it to the Android OS. So remember, that's accessible by pressing these arrow buttons and pressing this little icon, this annotation icon here. So this will always let you do glass annotation and annotate over any screen that you're viewing. One of the most important pieces I really like to highlight and focus is our native wireless screen sharing. So if I open this app, it'll start broadcasting our panel name. And there's of course, there's many different panels out there, like our competitors that have some type of screen casting ability, but there's a difference between native and non-native screen sharing. So native screen sharing doesn't require any third-party application for you to install on your device. It doesn't require any setup. it doesn't require any QR code scanning. While non-native, which most of the competitors have traditionally, you need to install some type of application or program onto your device, whether it's like your Windows or laptop or iPad or Mac. And then you need to do some setup. You need to scan some QR code to be able to do that screen share. And it's kind of a headache sometimes. So, and I'll show you just how easy it is to actually use our wireless screen sharing piece. So here I open up the app, and now we're broadcasting our panel name. And I'll go ahead and highlight here. These are the different operating systems and devices that we support. So we actually support every single device out there. Well, almost, pretty much. iPads, MacBooks, Chrome OS, Chromebooks, Android tablets, Android devices, even Windows Mirrorcast. So pretty much every single type of device we support. And all you need to do to connect is be on the same wireless network. So here I have a Chromebook, a Lenovo Yoga, and I'll show you just how easy it is to actually connect from my screen to my panel wirelessly. So I don't have any apps installed. I just go to the bottom toolbar. I see cast devices available, and then I see my panel name. So I'm going to select my panel, and I'm going to start casting and share both my screen and my audio. So now you see that I'm actually mirroring my screen here. And in a lot of demos, you'll see people have their devices connected, but they don't show you how to set it up because theirs is most likely non-native. I've actually just showed you how easy and fast it is to actually hook up my laptop or my Chromebook to the screen. And here I can even open up YouTube videos because this casting actually casts both like picture, video, and audio. So what's great is that I can actually full screen a video like this that's paused, and then I can go ahead and pull up that glass annotation mode to further annotate over my screen here. So here I'm going to be highlighting some planets that I have. Here's another one. And I want to focus on these rings here. And this is a live YouTube video that I've just paused and annotated over. So you can kind of see how this would be very, very useful in a classroom situation scenario where a teacher is teaching on their device, or you want a student with their own device to cast their screen onto the panel. And you may be wondering, what type of security does this have? Can someone kick me off or anything? I don't want some random student to be connecting to my screen when I don't want them to. So once this is connected, no other devices can connect until you stop screen sharing, either through the application on the panel or through your computer. So I'm going to go ahead and stop screen share. You'll see how easy it is for me to do it. Go ahead and go into the bottom right. Click on that, and I see stop. So there's a stop button there, so I'll go ahead and press stop. Now I'm back to here. Why don't we go ahead and try an iPad, because iPads are extremely common, just like Chromebooks. And I'll show you just how easy it is to even connect an iPad. In fact, this might be more familiar to you guys since iPhones are something that we all use. I'm on the same network here. Pull up from underneath to pull up my control center. Go to AirPlay mirroring. I see my panel name. I go ahead and tap that. And now I am wirelessly screen sharing to the panel with my iPad. It even auto rotates with me. I can even go to view different photos that I have. So let's go ahead and pull up this photo. Here's a photo of me in a classroom with a bunch of students. So it's a great, great tool, easiest to use. It's seamless. Remember, we want to highlight ease of use. A lot of these different panels and competitors, they won't show you how to actually set it up, how to do their wireless screencasting, because theirs is non-native, and there's a huge difference between non-native and native screencasting, and that's something that I really want to highlight here. So once I'm done with it, I just stop screen share, and now I can just go back to the home screen by pressing this home button. So that's how you kind of navigate through the Android OS. Or if you want to, that's how you navigate through the whole panel, always pressing these arrow buttons on the left and right side. So these will always be present no matter what source you're viewing. Next up, I like to highlight the whiteboard, because in general, this thing is replacing a whiteboard, right? Because every day in our current classrooms, we write every day in the classroom. We have students go up there to do their work. And overall, we want a good writing experience that's easy, that's easy, simple, and that can make learning fun, actually. That makes students want to come up here and write and interact and collaborate together with the teacher and with each other. So here on the left top toolbar, you saw me press that button, and here I have a bunch of different folders. So imagine this as creating different folders on your desktop where you can organize your documents by different subjects or teacher names or however you wish. So here I got like math, science, shapes, history, a couple of different ones. So if I jump into my shapes folder, I have a bunch of different documents here, as you can see, and I can go ahead and press this plus button to either import a PDF that I already created as a teacher. I know that you guys have pre-made lesson plans and a curriculum that you've already created, and you can use this software, this application, to interact with those lesson plans, or you can select New Note. So right now, I'll just select New Note to show you the different templates that we actually have to offer. So here we have our traditional line paper. We have graph paper. We have math and engineering, music, sports, and even your traditional calendars and planners. If there's a custom template that your district wishes to use, we can definitely work with you to actually customize this application and upload that custom template onto this app for you to use. For now, let's go ahead and just go to a standard white paper. Or I can show you that you can first rename this to Lecture 1, or how you can rename this document whatever you want to make it more organized. And then here I have my pen tool to choose my thickness and then my color as well. So let's say I'm doing a lesson on shapes today. I'll go ahead and write shapes. Lesson 1. So it's an IR touchscreen. Supports multi-touch as well if I enable it here. So I can enable multi-touch. So now I have that ability to write and have multiple collaborators at the same time. You can annotate with either your fingers or the included styluses. And you can see that I'm writing at the same time, although my left hand is not very good at writing. So multiple people and students writing at the board all the same time with ease. There's no lag or anything to it. You have a very wide variety of colors in this application. So you can have a whole different types of themes of colors. You can even make your own custom colors with RGB scaling. And here you have many different tools. You have your standard calligraphy tool, highlighter tool, pen tool. And here I have a selection tool. So the selection tool is actually really, really cool because I can actually select different annotations I've made. So this S that I just drew, I can actually select it. Move it around. I can edit it, enlarge it. So I just accidentally made it look all crazy here. I can make it humongous if I want to. And then I can select this C right here. I can enlarge it if I want. And I can even change the thickness of it. So I can make this C thicker, as well as changing the color of it as well. So even after you do these annotations on here, you're always able to single select or group select different annotations to further edit them or move them around. I can also do really cool things such as copy and paste. So if I select this C, I'll go ahead and copy it. And then I'll add a new page to this document by pressing this top right button, plus button. So now I'm in a new page in the same document. And I can go ahead and actually paste that C from before. and make this even bigger here so you can see. So really great tool, really cool thing to be able to do in Whiteboard, because we give you this traditional whiteboard, but we give you so many more tools to be able to do things such as copy and paste. And that's something that you're never able to do in the traditional whiteboard. You can't just copy and paste, what you write, but you can definitely do so this software. Additionally, when you're writing on the canvas of a whiteboard in the classroom, once you're writing and you run out of space here, you see that I went from one end to the other. Traditionally in the classroom, once you run out of space, the only thing you can do from there is, erase whatever you've written to be able to write again, because there's obviously no room. It's not expandable. But within this software, you actually have an unlimited canvas, which means you can always continue to write. If I just expand the canvas. So here before, you saw that this was my cutoff here. But now I expanded it, so now I'm free to write so much more now. And I don't have to do any erasing. I don't have to lose any of that work and those annotations that I've made. So you can either get more space by expanding the same canvas if you want to work on the same page, or by pressing the plus button on the top right to add a new page to the same document. And so here I can always go back and jump back and forth into the pages that I've created. So what about PDFs? Interacting with previous lesson plans that you've already created, previous curriculum that you've already made, that you spent hours and years on creating these type of documents for the classroom, and you want to be able to interact with those curriculum that you made with this board. What I can do here is actually insert a PDF. So here I have the option to insert a PDF into the same exact document if I want. So I can insert a PDF by itself or into the same exact one. So I'll go ahead and insert into the same one. And here I have Shapes Lesson. I can choose to insert this PDF before or after my current page. So I'll do after. So now I have this whole PDF inserted into my whiteboard software. I'm able to switch between the different pages here. And I can see the different diagrams I have here. So let's go ahead and interact with some of them. I'm going to use my text tool, my shapes tool. So now I can trace these squares really well. So I have different shapes and tools available. So this one's like a circle, and I'll go ahead and use my circle tool. Let's see how good I can draw a circle here. See, now I can even, since it's like misplaced, I can even like move it around here. See, isn't that cool? So I'm always free and able to move it around. If I feel like this circle is not thick enough, I can always make it thicker. There we go. So I'm moving along. I'm interacting with the software. I'll do one more here where I'm going to add some lines to this triangle to trace it. And then I'll go ahead and color one of these in. And now when I press the top button, this number right here, I go into this view where I see all the different pages in my document. So all those different pages of the PDF that I've imported, I see them all in this view, as well as all the annotations I've made to those pages. So you can see how useful this actually and cool this actually is. Because I can actually easily jump between pages easily now and go back to this triangle page. What's best is that all of these save as a template. So if I want the next student to come up here and do their turn, I can go ahead and clear the page by just pressing and holding clear page. And so now I cleared the annotations on that page, and now the next student is ready to come up here and do their turn on this worksheet. Really great stuff. Let's do one more example here with the star. So let's go ahead and trace the star. I'm going to go ahead and copy it. And now I'm going to insert another page, a new page into the same document. So if I just hold this, I can go insert page. And if you remember, we started off with lined paper, but this time I can change a different background. You can always choose whatever background or template you want to use, even in the same document. So here I can insert this polar graph right here and actually paste that star I made from the previous slide. And here I'm able to change the thickness and color of it. So now I got the blue star on a brand new type of template. Once I'm done with my work and I want to save it. So by the way, this software and application always saves the work no matter what. So even after if you accidentally close out of it, like go to your home screen, you won't ever lose your work because it auto saves automatically, just like a draft email. So that page I just drew, you can see that I haven't lost any work. All my pages are still there. All my annotations are still there. So you never need to worry about losing your work in this application. So here I'm ready to export. I can either export this entire note or this page alone in either PDF, Paint, or JPEG format. And once I'm ready to do it, I can either save it to my thumb drive, that I have plugged in, save it to the internal memory of 16 gigabytes, or have it emailed to me. If I choose to save it onto my panel here, I'm then actually able to upload it to a Google Drive, a Google Cloud, or some type of OneNote if you're using that, using the cloud services. So in ES File Explorer that we have here on the cloud, you're going to be able to upload those documents you have and download those documents that you have through this type of File Cloud Explorer. So just to highlight the bottom piece again, the browser one is your standard browser where you can go to different websites. You can log into your Google Drive as well through here. Then the whiteboard I just went through. All apps is where you have all the applications installed on your panel. So here you can see that I have a couple different ones installed already. Then you got your file manager, which lets you access and see all your different files in your panel, or your SD card. So here is my panel. This one's my SD card. And then the app switcher is just like double tapping on your iPhone to be able to browse and navigate through the different applications. And if I want to exit out any background running applications, I can do so just by pressing the X button here or by dragging to the right. You can also access this by pressing and holding the home button. So there's two different ways to actually access that file switcher. Last but not least is the source button, which lets you choose between the different sources. But I always like to use this top source button to change because this one is a lot easier to use. And it shows you that you have up to 5 different HDMI and touch ports available when doing that. So here, the last piece I want to highlight is our Sphere 2 application. So if you didn't know, AVer is actually, we started off as a document camera company actually, and we're a market leader in document cameras and visualizers. And with our panel, we wanted to focus on seamless integration with our wireless document cameras. So here, I have an S70W connected to my same network as my panel. And the S70W is actually a true wireless document camera, which means it's got no cables needed. It has an onboard battery of 8 hours. And as you can see here, I'm actually completely wireless, moving around in my presentation room right here. And you can imagine as a teacher how useful this would be if I'm walking around from desk to desk, showing off the students' work to the whole entire classroom, bound by no wires whatsoever. So here I have just some little examples here. This is our Sphere 2 software, where you're able to do multi-touch, be able to annotate as well and highlight different things. I can always change the color and thicknesses of annotations. And then I can always clear the screen like this and take snapshots. So if I want to take a snapshot, I can just press this button to easily do so. But in this app, it's actually great because then you're actually able to change different camera controls of the camera through the application by pressing the plus and minus button here to zoom in and zoom out and pan. I can even rotate the image remotely if I need to, like this. I can even do stuff such as change the color scheme of the camera image. So here I can change it to black and white or inverted. So just some cool options that we have here. But that kind of does go over and sums up my kind of demo and presentation and walkthrough of our AVer CP series today. Please make sure if you have any questions to ask me right now before I end the session. All questions are greatly appreciated, and I absolutely would love to, of course, help you guys out on anything that you have questions about. And here I actually have Windows 10 loaded onto an OPS. So an OPS is just an optional computer that I have plugged into the back. And here this is great because I can now open up Maps and actually kind of go on to take my classroom on a virtual field trip. So here I'm actually in Fremont, South Fremont, an hour south of San Francisco. And this is AVer's headquarters building in USA. And remember, I can always pull up those annotations, those overlays with these arrow buttons on the left and right side by pressing the annotation. And now I can annotate freely no matter what source I'm viewing. So that sums up my presentation for today. I want to thank everyone for joining me this morning and afternoon. This has been AVer and Troxel's webinar series, our very last one of December and my last webinar of this year. My next webinar is going to be in January, so I'll be seeing you guys in the new year. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Hope you guys all have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a great New Year. If you have any questions, please reach out to me via email. I'll be sending a follow-up email after this webinar with this recorded session, so you guys can always view it afterwards. Thank you guys, and please take care.